I've wanted to ask you this specifically for fucking years because uh, the Jack and Triumph show, it showed here about 2 years after it was on TV, and then it seemed to get cancelled right out of the blue. What happened, and where's all the other episodes?
Oh, you know what? They only made 7 episodes total. So you probably saw all the episodes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I think people were used to seeing Triumph the Insult Comic Dog in an unscripted format, when he goes to that hot dog place in Chicago. And he's just like, Robert Smigel is the voice of Triumph, and he's just going off on people, and he's hilarious, and he's just good at like unscripted, insults, right? But then I think in sitcom format, it was still really funny, but it was all scripted. And when you're used to seeing somebody who's hilarious unscripted, to see them in a scripted format, you're like, okay, that's still funny, but it's almost a drop in energy.
Yeah.
Robert Smigel, because he's a genius and he was amazing to work with. But the critics, I think, really brought that show down because they aired the 7 episodes, and then I think Adult Swim just listened to all the freaking people writing stories about like, oh, this is not as funny as when he's unscripted. And lay people just don't understand how comedy works. So I think it was still brilliantly funny. It just, there's a different level of energy when it's a scripted show versus, you're just man on the street style. So I think I blame the people who freaking wrote all the negative, press about it, because they really didn't give the show a chance to kind of find its voice before they just all attacked it, because all these critics, that's what they do. They criticize.
But critics to me are just a bunch of, I call them clickbaitists, because if Esther Ku and The Rock do Mission Impossible 7, if I shit on it and everyone's clicking on my article, that's when the money comes in, instead of saying it's actually really good and Esther Ku's better than Tom Cruise ever was, and The Rock, The Rock's a hot guy, he's nice to look at. But that's why I think we're coming to an era where critics are going to be obsolete. There's a big word for me.
Yeah, these critics, everybody has a fucking opinion, and who cares? Who the fuck are you? What have you ever done besides just criticize other people's work? Like, how do you feel good about yourself just criticizing people's work for a living? And they probably barely make a living at that. They probably get paid like $25 an article to write that.
They don't deserve it. Fuck them.
Yeah, so, a lot of these networks, they're so afraid to invest in a show if, 90% of the critics are like, oh, this show sucks. And it was a big disappointment when we found out that the show wasn't going to continue.
It was a shame because they didn't really use you much in those early episodes, and it just seemed that she's getting ready to do something very, very viral.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I would have loved to see what else they would have written for me to do, because it was a super small role, but it was also like the first sitcom that I ever done, and it was just a good experience, and I had a lot of fun doing it, and it was in front of a live audience, which was awesome, because just to have that energy.